Almost 50,000 Cubans from the Miami area in Florida are facing deportations. That's because thousands of those Cubans filed for political asylum and were granted political asylum, except they went back and visited their homeland of Cuba. Well, the big deal is that when you file for political asylum, you're declaring that your life is in danger in your home country. And by these Cubans going back to Cuba to visit, that means that the entire process of the political asylum was fraud. The application asked for political asylum seekers to give detail of why they can't go back to their country, why their lives are in danger in their homeland. And Cubans gave those statements that their life was in danger if they ever went back to Cuba. So going back to visit Cuba after you've been granted political asylum indicates that these Cubans have been granted political asylum based on false information. Now, it's no secret, Cubans played a huge role on the re-election of Donald Trump. And a lot of them feel let down by this administration because now they're being sent back home. So I'm going to ask all the Latino community, and I will do the same, to please hold a moment of silence for the thousands of Cubans who now are going to be...
The U.S. is quietly dumping Cuban immigrants with criminal records into Mexico. I'm Major League, and this is news you need to know. The Miami Herald is reporting that the Trump administration is quietly busing Cubans and other immigrants with criminal records across the border into Mexico. Cuba won't take them back, so the U.S. is making it Mexico's problem. Some of these deportees have been in the U.S. since the 1980s and are being left near the Guatemalan border with no papers, no food, no water, no shelter. Lawyers are warning that dumping these people onto random streets in Mexico makes them instant targets for organized crime and kidnappings. This administration is outsourcing its accountability and creating a humanitarian disaster. But I want to know what you think. Comment down below and click the link.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and I hope you are all doing good. Miami Cubans who once passionately supported Donald Trump in the 2024 elections are now in shock as deportation fears become their new reality. Many of them believed their loyalty would secure their place in America, but the tables have turned. This emotional story reveals the irony, heartbreak, and deep divide within immigrant communities who put faith in policies that are now turning against them. Guys, watch as Miami residents react, cry out for help, and question how everything changed so fast. Is this political karma or just the harsh truth of United States immigration politics? Guys, let's break it down. I'll be coming back with more commentaries. Kindly let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think they were betrayed or should they have seen it coming?
Meet Roberto Mosquera from the state of Florida. He's a Cuban man that was picked up by immigration and deported to a small country in Africa. And here's what his daughter Monica Mosquera has to say about his very, very tough situation.
This is me and my dad.
Monica Mosquera felt it was cruel. Her dad was taken by ICE.
A couple days before Father's Day.
Mosquera says her father, Roberto, went for an annual check-in with immigration agents back in June and was taken into custody. But instead of being deported to his native Cuba, he was sent to Africa.
How we go from one moment of me hugging my dad and being with him all the time and just being his little girl, and then to he's just on a different country and just in prison for what? He did his time years ago.
Now, he was sent to a small country in Africa called Eswatini, which apparently does a lot of human rights violations. But let's watch the rest of the clip together and see how this story unfolds.
The man who immigrated to the U.S. from Cuba when he was 9 is on a hunger strike while in Africa, hoping to get the attention of the man he once supported.
He was very pro-Trump, super Trump supporter.
Now, who did not see that coming? Insert sarcasm. Now, obviously, he's a supporter by non-vote, just a believer in the cause. And now his belief in the movement has come back to bite him in the ass. And I'm going to assume that if Roberto believed in the Trump movement, then the rest of the family probably did too, and probably voted for this. Just to show you Roberto's rap sheet from the mid-80s all the way to 2021, he has such crimes as robbery, grand theft, attempted unaliving, disorderly conduct, and battery. But let's just shelve this into another episode of The Leopards Came to Eat My Face and FAFO. But anyways, what did y'all have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner today? Let me know, drop a comment.
So I'm not sure if you heard the story, But do you know that there are hundreds of Cubans that were residing in South Florida? They got picked up by ICE, right? But they got deported to Mexico. Now, yes, I would wish that for anyone without a criminal history to go to Mexico. But these Cubanos absolutely have criminal history. And of course, Cuba is not going to take them back. These Cubans, for some reason, don't go to CCOT. But the people without criminal history actually make it a CCOT? I am mortified about this. Now, according to Orlando Signal, these men have serious criminal conviction in the U.S., which include smug dealing, DV, theft, armed robbery, child abuse, battery, and some had additional charges for which they haven't been convicted, including one for attempted red rum. These Cubans with a criminal history were given a choice. You either go to Mexico or we're going to send you to an unspecified country like in Africa. I guess my question to Homeland Security, are other immigrants afforded that same grace, if you could even call that? Can Haitians say, hey, don't send me back to Haiti, send me to Mexico? Can Brazilians, Dominicans, all of them ask to be sent to Mexico? And why do we have so many immigrants that do not have a criminal history being sent to CCOT just because they're trying to make their way here in the United States? And I guess my final question would be, is Mexico aware of this? Did they sign an agreement that these men with criminal history can go to their country? Because now it's a safety issue for the Mexican people. Now, there was one Cuban who is 66 years old, and he was charged with sexual molest. You know what I mean. Another one pleaded guilty to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a machete. He attacked two women, which one of them was his partner. Now, the Department of Homeland Security is not answering any questions. However, Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said in an email statement that if you come to our country illegally and break our laws, you could end up in CCOC, Ghana, South Sudan, and any third country. She meant to say third world country. Once again, why do these Cubans have a choice? Why can't Obregon Garcia have that same choice? Once again, I have to remind you, these are Cubans in Florida, in Miami. And I think this is the best that those legislators can do for these Cubans. But F them, because if anybody, they deserve to be in CCOT. And this is me who does not believe in the CCOT and all these third world prisons that we have going.
Miami Cuban super Trump supporter deported to Africa after decades in the U.S. A Miami man who was proudly called himself a super Trump supporter has been deported to Africa, even though he comes to the U.S. from Cuba at just 9 years old. 58-year-old Roberto Mascaro was detained by ICE during his annual immigration check-in, something he's done faithfully for years after serving time and rebuilding his life as a plumber. Instead of being sent to Cuba, he was deported to Eswatini, where he's now reportedly being held in a maximum security prison under harsh conditions. Oh no, it's the consequences of my actions. And what the fuck, sir? You've been here since you were 9 years old, you're 50 something now, and you still don't have immigration status? Still not legal? That sounds like you'll fuck around and find it. Sound like you the problem. I mean, well, I guess you Africa's problem now. I hate that for you though, sir. I mean, I don't, but I do. No, I don't, because you've been here long enough.
70% of Cubans in Miami voted for T-Money. And we're now learning, according to the Miami Herald, that Cubans in Miami who have a criminal record are being deported to Mexico. Yep, Mexico, where they have no citizenship, they don't know anybody, and it is what it is. So according to the Miami Herald, they're saying that Cuba doesn't accept anyone with a criminal past. So if you have any criminal activities in America, Cuba's not going to take you back. So they have kindly put them on a bus to Mexico. And some of the people that were deported said that they told the Miami Herald that they have nowhere to go. They're literally in limbo in Mexico. They have spent weeks searching for work, for food, and for shelter, and they are sleeping on the streets. I have one thing to say. And again, those are the Cubans that were deported to Mexico. They're in Mexico without any visas, without a passport. They literally put them on a bus and drop them off in Mexico and say sayonara. The only thing I gotta say is I will vote for Donald Trump. You guys remember that song? That was from a Cuban. 70% of Cubans voted for this. So I'm your girl B, freelance journalist, longtime entrepreneur with the news you can use. 70% of Cubans in...
Guys, even as we continue watching, we have to know that Miami is a city known for its vibrant Cuban community, passion for politics, and deep loyalty to the American dream. But today, the same people who once waved Trump flags, marched for law and order, and believed they were protected are now facing a harsh twist of fate. Deportation notices, immigration raids, and broken promises are shaking the very heart of Little Havana. So guys, let's get into the remaining clips. I'll be coming back with more commentaries.
The leopards continue to eat faces. Watch this video and I'll be right back.
So this Cuban man from where else but Florida just got deported, and not back to Cuba, but to a country in Africa. And by now I'm sure you can guess who he supported. Watch.
The man who immigrated to the U.S. from Cuba when he was 9 is on a hunger strike while in Africa, hoping to get the attention of the man he once supported.
He was very pro-Trump, super Trump supporter. How we go from one moment of me hugging my dad and being with him all the time and just being his little girl, and into he's just on a different country and just in prison. For what? He did his time years ago. Why is he in prison?
The 58-year-old is one of at least 5 men sent to a maximum security prison in the Kingdom of Eswatini over the summer, a small country in Africa criticized for alleged human rights abuses.
I don't even know what to say to people like him anymore, because you're a super Trump supporter who thought he was going to get a pass with this rap sheet, and now you're on a hunger strike. Hermano, he sent you to Eswatini. He does not give a shit about you.
Cue the music. Yeah. Vote for the crown. Keep it great. Vote for the crown. I will vote to be deported. Oh my God, I will vote to be deported.
You feel proud to be American. Raise your hand. God bless America. I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote. Raise your hand, come on. For Donald Trump. Dale cintura, 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 cintura.
Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote to be deported. Oh my God, that sucks. You didn't even get deported to your country of origin. They sent you all the way to Africa. Oh, Jesus. When you get on your knees for white supremacy, the leopards will always eat your face, you see. So maybe next time you'll join the black community in the fight, because ultimately, collectively, we have always been right. There you go. Just made that up. Oh my God, I will vote. Hey, I will vote to be deported.
The Trump administration has been quietly sending Cuban immigrants to African countries and busing them across the Mexican border to Mexico. In May 2025, the U.S. deported 8 individuals, including 2 Cuban men named Enrique Arias Hierro and Jose Manuel Rodriguez Quinones, to South Sudan. Cuba refused to take them back. In July 2025, the U.S. deported another Cuban national, Roberto Mosquera del Peral, to the Southern African Kingdom of Eswatini. Just days before Father's Day, Roberto Mosquera was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents in South Florida during his annual check-in. But instead of being deported to his native Cuba, he was sent to Africa. The 58-year-old is among at least 5 men transferred this summer to a maximum security prison in the Southern African Kingdom of Eswatini. Several deportees told the Miami Herald they were driven by U.S. Homeland Security to the southern border and handed off to Mexican authorities, despite having lived in the U.S. for years. If we can quite recall, a lot of Cubans voted for Donald Trump. They were so proud of voting for Donald Trump that they made a hit song about it. Every election, Cubans in Florida unanimously vote Republican. This time, it looks like it has worked against them, as the Trump administration is scooping up almost any Cuban and deporting them to third world countries. Do you feel sorry for the Cubans in Florida who voted for Donald Trump?
Yeah, guys, we have seen it all, and we are seeing these are the Miami Cubans who wholeheartedly supported Donald Trump in the 2024 elections, and now they are in tears as the system they stood behind turns against them. For years, many Cuban Americans in South Florida identified strongly with the Republican Party, driven by anti-socialist sentiment and the belief that Trump's strong stance on communism aligned with their values. In 2024, thousands of Miami Cubans once again came out in massive numbers to support Trump, hoping for economic revival and border control that wouldn't affect them. But politics doesn't play favorites, and when immigration enforcement got tougher, it didn't matter if you were a Cuban, Mexican, or Haitian. The rules were the same for everyone. So this is the deportation shock they are experiencing. The shock began when local families started receiving deportation notices. Many of them hadn't renewed paperwork or had unresolved residency issues, things they never thought would lead to actual deportations. Suddenly, families were torn apart, jobs were lost, and panic spread through Miami Cubans' neighborhoods. One woman said that as I was perusing through the social media pages, there's a lady who said, "We voted for him because we believed he was protecting us from illegals. We never thought we'd be treated like them." That statement alone sums up the confusion, the heartbreak, and deep irony in this moment. This is very much emotional. Many in the community are now speaking out, some blaming Trump's administration for betrayal, others admitting they misunderstood how immigration laws really work. Social media is flooded with emotional videos, tears, regret, and disbelief. It's a painful reminder that when policies get tough on immigration, they don't come with exceptions for loyalty or support. This is not just politics anymore, it's people's lives. Yeah, so the lesson and the irony is learned, that there is a bigger lesson here, that political loyalty doesn't guarantee protection. Voting for stricter policies without realizing they can affect your own community can backfire hard. You know, many are now questioning, was this political karma or simply a cold system doing what it always does? Whatever your opinion, one thing is clear: the dream many chased is now turning into a nightmare for some who once felt safest in Miami's sunshine. Yes, so what do you think, guys? Kindly let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Were these Miami Cubans betrayed by the system they supported, or were they simply blind to the reality of United States immigration policies? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a discussion America needs to have. Guys, of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of this video. This video is meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. Thank you so much. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, share it to get to a wider audience, and also subscribe for more stories that reveal the truth behind the headlines. Hit that notification bell, guys. See you in the next one, guys. Peace be with you.